Well, my predictions for Castlevania Season 3 were catastrophically wrong. Let's see if I can't do a better job this time around. So now that we have a trailer and several promotional images and screenshots for Season 4, I'm going to give my thoughts on where I think the story is going, or what I would like to see happen, whether I think it will or not. Firstly, let's start with something optimistic. Alucard is confirmed to return to the battle, and based on the dialogue from the trailer, it looks like he hasn't completely given up on humanity and is still willing to help those in need.
Will you help us?
I'm sure I can do something for you.
Note how he's carrying a shield now, though, which implies that he realizes that he's not invincible despite his rapid regeneration abilities, and the wounds he got from Taka and Sumi still left marks on his body. I will say that I hope we see some sort of transition here, with him having to coax himself back out of the castle. Otherwise, the closing scene of Season 3 seems completely wasted. I should also note that neither the trailer nor the promo images depict Alucard being with Trevor and Sypha, so it doesn't appear that they'll be together for the majority of this season. On that note, I have only one prediction for Trevor and Sypha. I think that Trevor is going to die, and Sypha is pregnant with Trevor's child. The trailer and the promo art heavily implies that the Grim Reaper, Death himself, is going to be present in this season. It makes sense, seeing as how Death is a heavily recurring enemy in the Castlevania series. It could be Death, or it could be another similarly powerful foe, like the Forgotten One. We see that Trevor is having to fight this enemy, and since the promo art shows Trevor facing the skull in the background, with the Belmont family crest being torn away, I think that Trevor is likely going to die against this monster. Since this is confirmed to be the final season of this storyline, I wouldn't be surprised if this was their way of ending Trevor's story and moving on to the next Belmont. As for Sypha, it is confirmed in the main Castlevania canon that Sypha and Trevor have children that continue the Belmont family legacy, and we all know that these two are shacking up, and that this takes place hundreds of years before birth control was invented. I think that Trevor will die, and Sypha will reveal that she's pregnant around that time, either right before he dies or shortly after, possibly confiding in Saint Germain or maybe Alucard if he rejoins the team later on. Saint Germain is confirmed to be in this season as well. Off the top of my head, I can't make any strong predictions, but if I had to make any, it would be that if they weren't going to kill Trevor, maybe Saint Germain could help him survive the battle with Death. Maybe he seals Death in the Infinite Corridor, or uses the corridor to bring a future Belmont to the past to help Trevor? Probably not, but that's all that I can come up with. I think it'd be cool if we could get something like Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate, and see Trevor and Simon fighting side by side. Isaac has assembled his army of night creatures and seems to be ready to exact his revenge. He says that now his goal is not just vengeance, but conquest. This to me says that he's going to be attempting to overthrow Carmilla and her sisters. I don't have a lot to go on based on the trailer, but we see Isaac dropping into a castle with Winter's Night as the background, like Carmilla's castle in Styria, and we also see him standing before a blood-soaked staircase, and Carmilla is seen sliding around a room with a blood-covered floor. The trailer depicts Striga wearing full body armor and carrying a massive sword, attacking a group of humans. It also looks like Striga stole this armor and sword from Guts from Berserk. We aren't shown much about Marana, Lenore, or Hector for this season's teaser, outside of Carmilla telling us that Hector will once again return to his devil forging. It is possible we could see Isaac and Hector have some sort of confrontation, since we do see Isaac killing a night creature, likely forged by Hector. So outside of the previous predictions, here are a few other events that I think could happen, or that I'd just like to see, whether they are likely or not. During Season 3, Isaac became the most interesting part of the show. At this point, I'm more invested in his story than anyone else's. When Isaac and Hector eventually meet face to face, I would love to see Isaac actually spare his life, but destroy everything else important to him. He could kill Lenore, Carmilla, and Striga and burn down the rest of Castle Styria, which would leave Hector without anywhere to go. He betrayed humanity so he can't go back to the humans, and he betrayed Dracula so any of Dracula's allies would shun him, and his only home left was with Lenore in the castle. In addition to that, Isaac could also cut off his hands, taking away his ability to Devil Forge, leaving Hector still alive but with nothing left to live for. That would be the most satisfying revenge he could get. Although, if he doesn't chop off his hands and he just leaves him without anything else, this could be the opening for Hector to join up with Trevor and Sypha and potentially become a vampire hunter himself. In the audio teaser, we do hear Hector talking to somebody and telling them Carmilla's plan, but we're not sure who he's speaking to. It could be anyone from Isaac to Saint Germain, or possibly our main trio. We'll just have to wait and see. For Marana, I think that she would likely get stabbed in the back by Carmilla. After Isaac storms the castle with his army, Carmilla may try to flee and sacrifice Marana to make her getaway, either before or after she would have to fight Isaac directly. I think that Striga would likely be killed in battle. Maybe she would encounter Trevor and Sypha and escape that fight, but severely wounded, only to be finished off by Isaac's Night Horde once she returns home. Aside from this, I can't really think of much to predict. The series has shown that it's not trying to directly follow the games, so aside from a few characters or enemies appearing, I don't really expect too much to be carried over perfectly. Maybe in the spin-off series that's been announced. Either way, Season 4 is looking great, and this series of Netflix's Castlevania seems to be ending off with a bang. Check back with us after May 13th to see our thoughts on the final season, and to see if I was able to predict anything correctly this time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.